Alrighty, this is a Winnebago Roam. It's on a Promaster 159 chassis. This is a wheelchair accessible van. See, I've already started getting to work. Have a full-length Fiamma awning up there. These are the cushions from the bed. Basically, it's a bench that automatically or electronically folds into a bed. There's a open space here for wheelchair access. It comes with a lift gate right under the step there. 2 swivels up front. We have a small dinette with a fridge, little sink, and then right here is a shower. Plenty of uppers, microwave. These are wheelchair accessible, so you can pull the lid open from your seat. And then this one even has a drawer that pulls down at an angle, which I thought was pretty clever. You gotta push that back up. You can pull the strap down, closes, and there's a little clip to keep it closed. So I am doing a full Victron installation in here, and we are going to be fitting 2 SFK batteries, a Victron Multiplus 3 kVA, 2 DC-DC chargers, filling the roof with solar. I have my work cut out for me. I'm sharing the space with a freshwater tank and a Timberline hydronic heating system. You can see we're pretty full over here on the control board, so I think my GX touchscreen is probably going to go up here, but maybe here too. Let's take a look at the back, see what we're working with. So one of the saving graces of this is that there is this kind of slide out tray. You can see the cargo area is full of camping gear, but there's a little slide out tray cubby under here, and that's what this Xantrex inverter is sitting on. It's basically a box, and we're going to be deleting that. I'm going to be creating a panel that kind of matches this upholstery. So we'll get rid of that box. That's where our batteries will go. Currently, the batteries are underneath the van. You can see there's one right there, and then there's one on the back side of this axle back over there. So there's the hydronic heater. I laugh because it's kind of just very just front and center. But yeah, there's the battery. We're going to be pulling that out, pulling that tray out, and mounting everything inside. We're also replacing this Coleman mock with a Furrion chill cube. So once that's installed, I'll be able to measure out all of the roof space that I have for maximizing solar panels, because this client wants to be as off-grid as possible. I want to see how much room we have for this power system. So first step is to pull out this slide out tray. Then we're going to take this inverter off and disassemble the box. Well, before we do this inverter, we should probably take the batteries out. So I'm under here looking at these battery trays, and you can see that they have a really long ground cord that goes all the way over there, which I thought was funny. But yeah, we're going to take these batteries out, disconnect the power so that I can safely remove the inverter. I noticed this hose rubbing on the exhaust. That's not good. That was probably smoking. Batteries are out, and so is the box. Look at all that room. And I have all this material that's already covered that I'll probably just be able to pop right in there and it'll look stock. All right, look at that. Use existing material. Got a nice wall, tons of open space, but now it's time to sort through these wires. All right, I cleaned up some wiring. It doesn't probably look like much happened because this Timberline wiring kit is just insane. It's like an octopus or spaghetti. I used to install these Timberline systems in vans when I worked at the shop out in Portland. So I'm fairly familiar with them. But you can see we have our Multiplus kVA, so Multiplus 2, 3 kVA, sorry, and 2 of our SFK batteries installed in here. There's also some room above this to put my Lynx distributor, which I still have to fit. I also have to fit in 2 Orion DC-DC chargers and a solar charge controller. I don't know where I'm gonna put that stuff. There is some room like back over there, maybe over there, that I could fit something. Some stuff on top of this, although I moved some of these components over there. So I don't know. I think I'm going to try to work with this layout and create a backboard for the Multiplus. But I might orient some things a little differently and just see how that looks. Here is this hanger that I made for the Multiplus II. A bracket on there. I cut a little piece out so the exhaust of the Multiplus has some place to go. Had to route out the bottom to clear some of these big bolts in here, but this is what we're going to use to hold up the Multiplus on its side right in there. You can see the bolts on the floor of the couch. There's the Multiplus mounted on the bracket, and I have my batteries next to that. It is tight. And then I went ahead and made another bracket for the Lynx power center. And that's going to mount right in front of the batteries. It's also going to act as a stop for the batteries. And then I got in touch with the client and we chatted about locations for the rest of the chargers, and he was okay with mounting them on the wall back here. And then I'm going to make a little cover for all of that. And that really is the best orientation, to have all of those vertical for the heat, the cooling effect. All right, here we're doing something crazy. This is the control panel from this Winnebago Roam. It went right here and kind of covered this part of the C pillar. And because we were having trouble figuring out where are we going to put the Victron GX touchscreen, right? We could probably put it on the wall up there. Can't put it on the upper because it's so full of that hinged door and drawer mechanism. So the client actually was like, hey, couldn't we, make a new control panel and a new opening for the GX touchscreen? Because this was where the Xantrex was, and now we're not using that anymore. And I'm like, well, hey, what if we just take this out and laminate this and then just route out the bits that we need, and then we can redo the panel and put in the touchscreen. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. We're going to take this whole thing off. I'm going to re-laminate it. We're going to cut it out and install the GX touchscreen. All right, fast forward a day or two, you can see we got our whole control panel back in business. Everything's working, which is good, meaning I made all the connections appropriate. Down in here, we're pretty much wrapped up. I have one connection remaining. It's coming in the mail today. It's just a two gauge lug. Got our Cerbo mounted over here, and in the back we have our whole charging situation mounted on the wall, which looks great. I'm excited to finalize everything. Next up, however, is a little bit of modification to the shower. The client, who is in a wheelchair, has trouble getting up onto this seat because of the massive lip of the shower. They've also said that they are not really using the shower. So what we're going to do is cut this bit out and then just get rid of this so that the floor is a single level and they can swing their legs in there. We're going to be doing that, and then we're also going to be building another little shelf that goes from that side to that side, so it gives them extra storage along the back. All right, here we are. Last day on this Winnebago Roam. It's been a long process. There's been a lot of additions, which for me brings about some project fatigue. It also kind of breaks me away from my mindset of getting this done, then that done, and staying in the electrical. And then when I have to jump to like cabinetry and plumbing, it kind of slows me down. But I took my time. I did a nice job. Client was generous with time, and so was I. And we got it done. So I hope you like this video. Check out all the modifications that I did to this Winnebago Roam. If you are interested in something like this on your vehicle, please let me know. I have a shop here in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. I may only be willing to do the electrical for you, as the plumbing and the shower stall were a big project. I also do consultations if you are interested in tackling some of this yourself, or need a components list, wiring diagrams, etc. All right, thanks. Take a look. All right, here we are, Winnebago Roam. Let's go inside and check out the electrical system. This was the original project for this van, was a new lithium system. We pulled the AGM batteries from underneath, deleted the undermount trays, pulled all of the wiring inside, and then installed them in a process, right? The batteries back there. Oh, also remember there was a storage box here. And so we had to disassemble that storage box, put the batteries where the box was, get the inverter in here, and then figure out how we were going to mount all of this stuff. It was a really weird, tight space to have one of these big electrical systems, but I'm really happy with how it came out. So we have our Lynx distributor here mounted on a vertical mounting plate. We have our main on-off switch. There's no shunt because the batteries, the SFK batteries, are BMS controlling, meaning that they control the charging and discharging of the entire system. We have a Class T fuse here. Our Multiplus II kVA, which is a 3000 VA 12-volt Multiplus, is integrated into the stock breaker panel, and so it controls the shore charger and all the discharging of the 120 outlets, as well as pass-through. Over here on top of the water tank, we have our Cerbo and our connection, our SFK battery connections, which utilize the USB ports. And so when you're using two batteries, it works out perfect because one is a power USB for the GX touchscreen, and then we have two left over for data ports. You can do more batteries, but you just have to use a USB hub. You can see all of the wiring down here. It looks like a real mess, but believe it or not, I did clean up the Timberline wiring harness. This is a hydronic heating system that I've used in the past, especially when I worked in the van shop in Portland. We put a lot of these in, so I'm fairly familiar with them. And I was able to do, I did my best here. But in any case, there's a few things that are missing from this system. And if you recall, they are located on the back of this bench, the solar charger and the Orion charger. So let's take a look. All right, so here's the back of our van. There's where the slide out tray was and the storage box. And I was able to actually use the paneling that boxed that whole storage area in or out and create a wall there. I also used some extra panels over here to create this little box. So it hides our solar charge controller and our two DC-DC chargers. We have a negative a negative power post here. So instead of running like all my negatives from all these places all the way forward to the Lynx, we just brought like a common 2-gauge negative here, and then took our negative from here, and brought them all together, which saves in wiring runs. Here's our power cables running from under the van, which in the Winnebago, they kind of go to like a undermounted battery, I forget what they call it, electrical box or system, which is, kind of new. But now that I have another Winnebago right over here, it's doing the same thing. So kind of saved me some headaches there. But anyway, our solar breaker is here. I have some opening cut here and on the front of this to create sort of a passive cooling effect, because these two are going to get hot. That may get hot as well. I also use some 3/4 inch spacers on these Orions. That one's a little loose, you can hear it spinning, but that gives it, like a full inch or more off the back wall. So there's, a lot of passive cooling. And if it gets too hot, we can add a fan, right? It's no big deal. We'll just cut a hole in the side here or put a hole in the front and add a little 12-volt fan. The solar charge controller runs up this D-pillar, or I should say the wires run up the D-pillar and go to some solar panels on the roof. Let's check that out. So in between our original Max fan and our new Furrion Chill Cube, which was an upgrade over the Coleman unit that was up here, we were able to fit 3 Renogy 200-watt shadow flux panels. These are wired in, I forget if they're wired in, I think they're wired in parallel. But I used Unistrut, and I made a whole other video on how I mounted those. And I really like how it came out. It's really nice and sleek and flat. Lots of space underneath for cooling. Yeah, I think it looks really great. But that's 600 watts there. And these are like a higher voltage panel, so you get a lot out of them. They're also like what they call them, like shade resistant. So it's a newer technology that seems to work fairly well. And then also up here, I snuck in this little Lens Sun solar panel. This is a 20 watt panel. It's, you know, like a flexible panel, and it's just VHB taped to the roof. And so the client wanted a way to trickle charge his starter battery via solar. And this is what I came up with. It's a simple little panel that runs in next to the fan. It runs through the roof, down the front pillar, then to the battery box at your feet on the driver's seat. And then I have a small inline charge controller. It's just, you know, like an Amazon thing. I also made another video just for this sort of trickle charging setup that you can check out. But I like the way that turned out, and look how low profile that is. Alrighty, so let's move on inside the van. All right, so in addition to the Furrion Chill Cube, which was one addition, you can see there's the install there. I had to create this custom spacer because of the way it mounts, and the roof was pretty thin. It's like a 1.5 inch plywood spacer. Looks really good. It's just painted. Oh, I also made this shelf back here. So it's a shelf that spans from side to side. And so the client can put stuff up there. It's got a little lip on it. It's got some carpet on it. It's you know, just plywood that's stained to match the rest of the cabinetry. Hangs from the L track there, and then is also kind of screwed into the back of the cabinets. But really like how that came out. And then another big addition that came up was our bathroom. So if you're familiar with these Winnebago Roams, right, these are wheelchair accessible vans. And the original bathroom / shower had this little like 4-inch wall here. And so the client had trouble getting legs over the wall. And if you're, you know, mobility impaired, you might understand that. And so what he wanted was a seamless transition. And so I was able to do that with a lot of work, let me tell you. Had to pull out the shower pan. We deleted the cassette toilet, and this is just a dry flush. I think they called it a Modi well, although it says Lucille here. Deleted the cassette toilet. Had to reroute the drain from the sink, which came down into the hole right there. Sealed off the hole, got rid of the drain for the shower. Had to drop the gray tank. Deleted water lines to the old cassette toilet, deleted those shower lines right there. And then found some sort of matching vinyl flooring from just Lowe's. Had to build a little platform because also under the shower pan are like water lines and coolant lines for the heater and wiring harnesses. It had me questioning whether or not I should have done this, but I think it turned out okay. Client's really happy. Added an extra grab bar there for them. Yeah, so that was a big one. That took a lot of thinking. One thing we didn't talk about was the GX touchscreen over here. This is how we get to view our electrical system. Looks like we have a little notification, 11 notifications, a lot of low battery voltage, low temperature, low charge temperatures. This is all stuff that's being sent to the GX touchscreen from the SFK batteries, right? And so if you're not familiar with that setup, it's really cool because the SFK company, the SFK people created their own driver. So this integrates really well with a full Victron system. This is my new favorite system, and this is my third one. We have our alternators, which will see 100 amps if we start the vehicle. There's our solar charge, inverter, DC loads. There's our battery information. Yeah, and we're pretty low, 30%. But yeah, let me show you how we utilize those DC-DC chargers. Up here, the client actually wanted the availability to turn one or the other off because with two DC-DC chargers, they're outputting 100 amps, and this is just a stock alternator for now. And so we wired in two manual switches here. And so you can turn one off, have them both off, have them both on. Gives you some flexibility. Right next to the original battery boost panel, I had to cut a new little panel there. But I like how that turned out.